Every morning, Arav walked past the same homeless man on 7th Street. Dirty clothes, hollow eyes, silent. He never spoke, never begged. Just sat with a torn, faded notebook pressed to his chest. Arav hated that street. It reeked of failure, of people who gave up. "Get a job," he once muttered, looking away. The man never looked back. 3 years passed. Rain, sun, winter. The man stayed. And one day, he wasn't there. Something felt wrong. Arav's chest tightened, like he'd lost something he never claimed. A city worker found a man unconscious near the alley. No ID, just that same notebook. Arav was there out of guilt, but when he saw the open pages, his world stopped. Names, dates, a tiny photo, his. A child's drawing of him with Papa written in crayons. Arav dropped to his knees, tears flooding as the truth hit him like thunder. The man he ignored, judged, and dismissed was his own father. Lost to the streets after a breakdown no one understood. Arav had walked past his blood for years. He begged the nurses to save him, held his hand like a child. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." His father opened his eyes, weak but smiling. "You came back." Months later, he took him home. Cleaned him, fed him, talked for hours. Every word was a piece of the years they lost. Every hug, a healing they both craved. Now Arav still walks that street, but never without stopping. Never without seeing. Because sometimes the people we ignore are the ones we needed most. Arav passed the same homeless man at the traffic light, slouched, silent, clutching a tattered notebook like it was treasure. People laughed, threw coins. Arav looked away. He felt something, but buried it. He wasn't cruel, just busy, just surviving. Raised by a single mom who only said, "Your father left us. Forget him." So he did, or tried to. But that man, those eyes, they haunted him, not with fear and with familiarity. A sadness that felt too close, like a song you've heard in a dream. For 3 years, Arav crossed that same sidewalk. Never spoke, just glanced. The man never begged, never broke, just wrote, alone, as the world moved past him. Then one day, he was gone. The corner felt empty, wrong. Arav's chest ached, not with guilt, but loss. He searched without knowing why. A shelter called him. A man was found unconscious, no ID. Just a notebook filled with pages of a boy's name, drawings, stories, memories in messy handwriting. He opened it, and there he was. His own childhood, written in someone else's pain. "Arav, my son, I miss you." Page after page. His name. His life. His father. Tears fell like he hadn't cried in years. It wasn't abandonment. It was a mental breakdown. His father had wandered, lost in a world that didn't understand broken minds. "I thought you didn't want me," Arav whispered, holding his frail hand in the hospital. His father, eyes barely open, whispered, "I never stopped looking." He brought him home, bathed him, fed him, read to him from that notebook like bedtime stories reversed. The son, now the comforter, the boy, now the protector. And when neighbors stared, Arav stood tall. "This is my father." Because now he knew. Sometimes, broken people don't leave. They just get left behind. Every morning, Arav passed the same homeless man slumped on the sidewalk, ragged beard, sunburnt skin, clutching a torn notebook like it held his soul. Never spoke, never begged, just sat, like time had abandoned him. Arav never kicked him, never cursed, just ignored him, like society taught him. He told himself it wasn't cruelty, just normal. Everyone did it. So he looked down and kept walking. But some days he'd slow down. Something about that man, his stillness, his eyes, felt disturbingly familiar. Like a song from childhood you can't place but can't forget either. One rainy day, the man locked eyes with him. No words, just a soft, broken smile. Arav looked away fast, heart thumping. That smile felt too personal. Too close. Weeks later, the man vanished. No one noticed. No one asked. But Arav, he couldn't ignore the silence. The street felt louder without him. A call came. A clinic. A man was found unconscious. Only thing with him was a notebook, full of the name Arav. His throat closed. That name wasn't common, not with that spelling. He rushed there, notebook in hand. Inside, childish drawings. Me and Papa. Dates. Memories only someone who loved him could have known. And in the back, a photo of his mother. Tears blurred the pages. All those years he hadn't been abandoned. His father had a breakdown, disappeared into a world that never looked twice. And Arav had walked right past him, for years. He sat by his father's bedside, trembling. You were right there, and I never saw you. His father, weak and smiling, whispered, I always saw you. Every day. That night, Arav took him home, cleaned him, fed him, learned his favorite song again, laughed for the first time like a child who finally understood love. And now, every time he walks past someone the world ignores, he stops. He sees. Because the greatest mistake we make isn't hatred, it's blindness. And sometimes the person we walk past is the one who never stopped waiting for us. The nurse placed the notebook in Arav's hands gently, like it was something sacred. He didn't let go of this, she said softly, even when he passed out. Arav opened it, unsure why his hands were shaking. The first page was messy, handwriting shaky but full of care. Arav, I saw you again today. You've grown. He blinked. His name, not once, dozens of times across dozens of pages. Flip, a child's drawing, stick figures, a tall man, a little boy, both smiling. Me and Papa. Arav stared, heart pounding. That was his style. The sun in the corner, the birds like M's in the sky. It was his. He turned the page, a diary entry. He looks like his mother. Same eyes, same walk. I want to call out, but what if he hates me? The words blurred as Arav's tears hit the page. His breath caught. No, it can't be. He turned one last page and saw it. A photo. Faded, folded 100 times. His mother, smiling, arms around a toddler, him. And next to her was the homeless man, younger, smiling, his father. Arav staggered back like he'd been punched in the chest. The notebook slipped from his hands and hit the floor. No. His knees hit the tile. The weight of every step he didn't take over the years crushed him. The door creaked, a slow shuffle of feet. Then silence. Arav turned, eyes red. The man lay there, frail and half awake. But those eyes, tired, sunken, but unmistakably his. Papa? The word escaped like a ghost from a forgotten childhood. His father blinked, a tear sliding down his cheek. Arav? His voice cracked like old wood. I prayed. You'd know me one day. Arav fell to his knees beside the bed. I walked past you, every day. I didn't know. I thought you left us. I thought... He broke. His voice vanished. His face buried in his father's chest like a child. His father weakly raised a trembling hand. I tried to come back, but my mind... I lost it. I forgot how to be me. But I saw you. Every day. You were my reason to stay alive. Arav sobbed, not out of sadness, but regret. Regret for the looks he gave, the meals he didn't offer, the kindness he held back. His own father, alone right in front of him for years. "I'm here now," he whispered, "and I'm not leaving you again." Arav didn't leave the hospital that night. Not for food, not for rest. He sat by the bed like a soldier on watch, guarding what the world forgot. He held his father's hand, cold, rough, worn from years of being invisible. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "I won't let you disappear again. Not on my watch." Every beep of the monitor felt like a countdown, not of time lost, but time he was determined to reclaim. He read the notebook out loud, page by page, voice shaking with love. When the doctors talked about transferring his father to a state facility, Arav stood tall. "He's coming with me. I'll sign whatever, I'll fight whoever, he's not. Just a case file, he's my father. He brought him home. Not to a guest room, but to his own. A new mattress, clean clothes, family photos on the walls." "You deserve to be seen," Arav said. "You deserve to be safe." Neighbors stared. Some whispered, but Arav didn't care, let them talk. He pushed his father's wheelchair through the market with pride. "This is my dad," he told the fruit seller. "He loves mangoes." His father barely spoke at first, but slowly his smile returned. He started humming songs from Arav's childhood, broken notes at first, then full verses, music that melted the silence between them. One day, his father dropped the notebook. "I don't need this anymore," he said softly. "You're here now. That's all I ever needed." Arav gripped his shoulder. "You needed me, and I wasn't there. But I'll spend the rest of my life showing up. Every day, I promise." The night air in the hospital hallway was cold and sterile, buzzing softly with fluorescent lights and distant monitors. Arav sat on the hard chair, elbows on his knees, head hanging low. He hadn't blinked in minutes. The nurse had tried offering him a blanket, a tea, a suggestion to go home and return in the morning. He didn't move. His eyes were locked on the half-open door, where inside, a man, once invisible to the world, lay still, fighting for breath. That man was his father. The same man he'd passed every day for years, believing he was just another forgotten soul. The same man who had kept his name, his memories, alive in the pages of a notebook no one else had ever read. Arav had always thought loss felt like a sudden break. But this was slower. Doctors spoke in hushed tones. Chronic malnutrition, neurological episodes, dehydration. Arav heard every word, but none of them mattered. All he cared about was that this man, the man the world spat on, knew his name. He opened the notebook again. The pages smelled like rain and street dust. On one page, his father had drawn a clock with no hands. Beside it, a line. "Time doesn't heal when no one remembers your pain." Arav's fingers trembled. Every page was a story of waiting, of watching, from the shadows, of love so pure it stayed alive without ever being returned. The notebook was a map of heartbreak, and yet there was hope in it. Childlike hope. His father believed one day Arav would stop and notice. That belief, that was stronger than survival. Arav stood. He wasn't going to wait for someone else to decide what happened next. He walked straight to the front desk. "I want him transferred, somewhere safe, somewhere that treats him like a human being." "Sir?" the administrator said gently. "We need consent, documentation." "I'm his son," Arav interrupted. "You want ID, DNA? I'll give it. But if he dies here as a number, I'll never forgive myself. Ever." There was no fight in his voice, just truth. And desperation. Within days, Arav brought him home. It wasn't simple. He had to fight through bureaucracy, paperwork, even judgment from neighbors. "Isn't that the crazy man from 7th Street?" one auntie whispered at the corner store. Arav turned to her and smiled calmly. No, that's my father. He just went through something the rest of us couldn't imagine. Every morning Arav cooked for him, washed him, brushed his hair. Some days his father spoke, bits and pieces. Other days he stared at the wall, silent, distant. Arav never gave up. One evening, as the sun turned the living room gold, his father reached out and held his son's hand. I thought, you forgot me, he said, voice brittle. Arav knelt beside him. I didn't forget you. I didn't know you were there. His voice cracked. But I swear, I'll never let you feel forgotten again. One morning, Arav returned from the store and found the door open. Panic slammed into his chest. Papa? He called out. Silence. The house was empty. He dropped the bags and sprinted through the street. Flashbacks of the old alley, the bus stop, the sidewalk hit him like punches. Had his father wandered off? Had someone taken him? Finally, at the Park 3 blocks down, Arav found him, sitting quietly on a bench, feeding crumbs to birds. He ran to him. Papa, you scared me. His father looked up. I remembered this place, he said. We came here once, when you were little. You dropped your ice cream and cried like the world ended. Arav laughed through his tears. It did end, but you bought me a new one. That's right. His father nodded. I remember more when I'm here. Maybe I'm not as gone as they said. Arav put his arm around him. You're not gone. You're home. Spring came like a quiet gift. Arav began walking with his father every morning. Slow steps through the old park, beneath trees that remembered what they had forgotten. The world, once gray, now bloomed with new chances. Children laughed nearby. Dogs barked. His father sat under the same banyan tree they used to visit. Funny, he said one morning. I feel more alive now, and yet I have so little left. Arav smiled gently. That's not true, Papa. You have me, and I have you, and now we have what matters most, time we won't waste. Weeks later, Arav opened a blank notebook. He handed it to his father. You wrote to me all those years. Now let me write back. His father raised an eyebrow, amused. You sure I'll want to read that? But every night, Arav filled a page. Stories from childhood, the dreams he never shared, the apologies he could never say aloud. And slowly, he saw something shift in his father's eyes. Trust. Peace. Homecoming. One evening, his father stopped him. You don't need to keep writing. I already know how much you love me. Arav nodded, voice low. Then let's just live the rest out loud. A few months later, his father collapsed in the garden. Hospital lights again, beeping, panic. But this time, Arav didn't freeze. He didn't shatter. He stood firm, holding his father's hand as doctors worked. The diagnosis. Another episode, but not the end. His body was tired, but his heart was strong. You brought him back to life, one nurse whispered. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, Arav smiled. I just gave him what he gave me first, love without asking for anything back. On the one-year anniversary of bringing his father home, Arav invited a few friends, old neighbors, and even the fruit seller. They shared food, stories, and music. His father laughed louder than anyone. At sunset, Arav stood up, notebook in hand. This was once filled with silence and waiting, but now it's filled with presence. He looked at his father. And love. His father, eyes misty, pulled out a new notebook. Your turn, he grinned. You write the next chapter. Today, Arav volunteers at the shelter. He doesn't walk past anyone anymore, and because he knows, the soul you ignore might be the one that shaped you. Might even be the one that still loves you. And every time he sees someone sitting alone with a notebook, he stops. He smiles. Because he learned that love can survive anything, even silence, even shame, if someone is finally willing to see it. And when people ask about the man in the wheelchair beside him, he says, "That's my father. And he taught me everything I forgot to remember." For years, he walked past a homeless man without a second glance. He never imagined that the man begging on the corner, invisible to the world, was his own father. The man who had once held him, protected him, and waited silently for his return. When the truth shattered his world, he didn't turn away. He chose to fight, not just for redemption, but for love, for dignity, and for time they thought they'd lost. This is a story about second chances, about the eyes we fail to meet, and the hearts we forget to see. And in the end, it's a reminder: love doesn't disappear. It waits, even in silence.